Welcome back, my fellow door openers. It feels like an eternity since we've all got to hang out together. I have been super busy with work. I said I wasn't going to let work get in the way of my recording. Well, I was wrong. So, I am here today. I am happy to be here. I am happy to be sitting down doing something I enjoy on my time. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, my job should be a little more mellowed out. Going through some restaffing and also an audit. So yeah, not a bad thing, not a bad audit, just checking in audit, it's more of a help us figure out how to do everything properly more than a punitive one. And make sure moving forward we're doing it correctly. So that has been taking up a lot of my time. But all that said, I am here right now with you. And this is awesome. It's good to be back. It's good to be recording. It's good to just have time to do what I want to do. Some of my free time doing what I enjoy doing, which is bringing all of the most fun, interesting information to the masses, all however many of you there are. Yeah, so I just, like I said, it's just been busy. I have had a couple good half days off where I was able to do stuff, try out some new restaurants, new coffee shops here in Portland. Little shout out to Beer and Coffee. That was a nice little one with a pistachio latte. It was my first time having a pistachio latte, and it was delicious. And I recommend this wonderful little vegan coffee house in Southeast Portland. And got to go see. I went to my first show. Ta-da! Yeah, I've been here a year and I haven't gone to a show yet. That's exciting. Is that right? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. It might be. Either way, I went to the Coffin Club, which is a very cool little, I guess, horror Halloween type of themed club. But yeah, got to go see The Well. They are a band I first saw in Des Moines after recommendation of a friend. It was on one of those nights where I was like, I don't really want to do anything. And they're like, come on, let's go to a show. And I said, okay. And I got to see The Well, and I fell in love with The Well. So if you have a chance, check them out. They are on Spotify. Put on a great show, fun show. Yeah, but outside of that, my life has mainly been work. So I am, as I've said, very happy to be here talking about the things I love talking about and the things that I think you love listening about. Listening about? Is that a thing? It seems like a thing. And which is all things strange, paranormal, cults, conspiracies, cryptids, you name it. I want to do it all. I want to cover them all. I want to open all the doors of the universe that are out there. And went on the Wheel of Destiny. I had one come up. I don't remember what it was. Oh, the Rosicrucians, which I will eventually do an episode on that. But that one is one that's actually going to take a lot of research and a lot of time to actually put together a good episode for that. So with my limited time, I did another search, another spin of the Wheel of Destiny, and landed on today's topic. What is today's topic? You're wanting to know. I'm wanting to tell you. We're just all on the edge of our seat. Today, I come to you to talk about the Ozark Howler. Again, it is another one of these cryptids. I'm not sure where I first heard about it, but it got added to the list. It is on the list. It was something that needed more information on, and that is what I'm here for, is to bring you the information and for myself to enjoy doing the research. Like I said, I was busy, but there was a decent amount. Oh, let's give out another shout out while we're here. I did all my research at Flying Cat Coffee. Nice little coffee shop that has vegan burritos and breakfast burritos, which are two of my favorite things, burritos and breakfast, so you can't go wrong there. And I feel like I just get the chai there, but I feel like they have other great quality options. It's a nice little hitaway little coffee shop in Southeast Portland as well. Usually not very busy. So all the research was done there for the Ozark Howler. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the Ozark Howler. What is the Ozark Howler? So in Arkansas folklore, the Howler is a legendary creature said to dwell in the Ozarks. The Ozark Howler is the name residents and hunters have applied to a strange creature some say roams the remote forest of the Ozark Mountains. The reports originate from a vast area that includes parts of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. I just want to say that little shout out, we're getting a little closer to where I'm originally from, the Midwest. So yeah, Missouri is directly below Iowa. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I feel like the Midwest gets kind of jumbled up. A lot of people start confusing Ohio, Iowa, and Idaho, even though Idaho is more West Coast. But Iowa is so this has been spotted within a 2-hour drive of where I used to live. But the reports originate from a vast area that includes parts of Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. The Ozark Howler, or the Ozark Black Howler, legend has been passed down for generations by locals who have heard things they could not describe, and have seen things that couldn't be described as an animal that you would expect to find in the heart of the Ozark wilderness. Its frightening sound and eerie appearance have been seen in more remote parts of the Missourian and Arkansan. Yeah, we're going with Arkansan, Ozarks, and even further west into Oklahoma and south in Texas. The Ozark Howler legend is steeped in Native American folklore as well, with tribes in the region sharing their own tales of a creature inhabiting the region, often called or confused with the underwater panther. Might have to look into that a little more. Their story is typically depicted as a powerful supernatural being with the ability to shapeshift into various animals or take on human form. If you ask a local about the Ozark Howler, you're sure to hear more than one version. In fact, you're more likely to hear heated discussion on whether it's a real animal that has managed to avoid being captured and studied, or just a tall tale and the result of imaginations running wild. Some people swear up and down the creature protects the forest, while others are convinced it's a sinister force that preys on the unsuspecting. Reports of its behavior range from the cryptid being a lone wolf that shies away from humans, to it being a social animal that runs with a pack. Now, I'm sure at this point you're like, Aaron, you're telling me all about its origins. What's it looking like? Well, you're in luck. That's what I was about to start talking about. The Ozark Howler mystery is complicated because eyewitnesses vary widely in their descriptions of what they have seen. According to tradition, the creature is bear-like in shape with a gray-colored, shaggy coat. Some who claim to have seen the creature describe it as a gigantic cat bigger than a cougar. Others describe something far more monstrous. A massive cat-like beast with glowing eyes and horns protruding from its head. Most agree that it is black or dark in color. It is typically described as being around the size of a bear with a thick body, stocky legs, black shaggy hair, and having prominent horns. Its cry is often described as being a combination of a wolf's howl and an elk's bugle. So, fun fact, when an elk makes a sound that it makes, such as when a wolf howls, an elk has a bugle. This was news to me. It was also news to me the way an elk sounds when it's making its cry, which is, if I was asleep in the forest, and this was the first time I had ever heard this, I was awake at my computer, and this was the first time I had heard an elk's bugle. It is semi-terrifying. The sound, something you would hear in a horror movie that's out in the woods, that's on its way to kill you, or in proximity. But yeah, if you get a chance, look up the sound of an elk's bugle. The howl, as you might expect, is the hallmark of the Ozark Howler. Its sound has been described as very deep and guttural, as well as a high-pitched howl. Others have said that it's the most unearthly scream and half human. One of the most common descriptions of the sound is like the screams of a woman. Those who have heard the screams pierce the night never forget the chill that ran up their spine and the feeling of dread that washed over them. Some claim that the sounds are made by animals commonly found in the region. They point to the screams and howls of animals like the red fox, fisher cat, and even fighting raccoons. Fisher cat, again, animal I'd never heard of before. I looked it up. It's not a cat. Honestly, it looks more like a wolverine or something. I don't know about that. But yeah, there was one of the websites I'll share in the notes. Has like 4 different sound clips. I think that's where I heard the elk's bugle. But it also has the sound of a fisher cat, fighting raccoons, and a red fox. But yeah, any of these sounds in the middle of the night, like I'm out in the woods by myself, or even in my tent by myself, and I hear this, it's not good. It's not good. That's where I curl up in the fetal position with my handgun. Yeah, so sightings. Let's do sightings. Sightings have been officially recorded since the 1950s, though many Ozark families can pass on stories of their parents and grandparents experiencing the chill of seeing the Ozark Howler well before that time. Early sightings of the Ozark Howler may go back to the 19th century. The earliest and most popular stories involves famed frontiersman Daniel Boone, who was said to have killed the beast he encountered. Settlers in the region reported seeing a large black, wolf-like creature roaming in the Ozarks. Not every sighting has been conclusively proven to be a work of fiction, and the tales of the Howler are still enough to draw fascination. Indeed, this one was interesting. I don't know how much I feel like this is like concrete, decent evidence for this, but okay. Either way, here's. Indeed, one popular story about this strange creature is related to no less than 2 former American presidents. It involved a group with the unusual name, the Concatenated Order of the Hoo-Hoo, which aimed to foster relations between lumberjacks and trade organizations. It is said they boasted none other than Theodore Roosevelt and Warren Harding as members. While some note that lumbermen were often known as hoo-hoos, others say that the order knew about the black howler and wanted to protect its habitat. Whether true or not, many speculate that Teddy Roosevelt was a fan of the creature known as the howler. Curiously, as president, Roosevelt went on to establish the Ozark National Forest in 1908, an act that openly deepened the interest in Roosevelt's apparent passion for the howler. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, could have just, established a national forest, but interesting thoughts to snack on. So between 2005 and 2010, the howler, also called the devil cat, was spotted several times. A family living north of Van Buren in the Boston Mountains of Crawford County set out trail cams after spotting what they believed was a cougar. The images they supplied to a Fort Smith television station appeared to show a big cat similar to a cougar or mountain lion. In December of 2015, the Arkansas television station 4029 News reported that it had received photographs reported to be images of the creature from a viewer. The station contacted the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, who responded that they had heard of no claims of sighting of the creature and said that the images sent to the station were a hoax. At roughly the same time as the Crawford County sightings, similar reports originated from across the border in eastern Oklahoma. These sightings revolved around large, dark cats seen moving through the mountains. Other reports from Dardanelle in the Arkansas River Valley described strange sounds in the night, similar to the laugh or bark of a hyena. From higher elevations, witnesses reported seeing what they described as a large, stocky cat. Adding further confusion to all this is the fact that some researchers believe the whole Arkansas Howler legend is a hoax created by an individual intent on exposing what he considered the outlandishness of the chupacabra reports that began making their rounds on the internet in the late 1990s. Fun fact, I've been listening to old Art Bell recordings recently, and I have come across the section on the chupacabra. So it's interesting having all the people call in and not knowing how to pronounce it. I think this was 96 was when the episode was. I'm sure there was multiple episodes with it, but like one of the episodes I was listening to is heavily revolving around the chupacabra, and Art Bell believed in it, so I too believe in the chupacabra. Back to the topic at hand. Researcher Lauren Coleman and others were able to conclusively point out that someone using multiple aliases had spread a variety of outlandish stories about the howler on websites and blogs. So was the Ozark Howler a hoax? The answer to that question is definite combination of yes and no. Well, I mean, it can't be yes and no. The most reliable accounts, like those of the sighting in Crawford County between 2005 and 2010, revolve more around cougars than they do monsters. The trail cam images taken of the creature in Crawford County definitely appeared to show a cougar. Evidence from Newton County, Arkansas, where the howler was spotted in 2011, seems to verify the possibility of a big cat, or 2 or 3 or 4, roaming the Ozarks. While sightings are rare, the notoriety of the legendary creature, not to mention the absence of physical evidence supporting its existence, has drawn cryptozoologists and monster hunters to the Midwest. I have never been to the Ozarks. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the Ozarks via the Netflix series Ozarks. But yeah, this is somewhere that a lot of people in the Midwest, they do little vacations to the Ozarks. Always heard it's a good time. So here's a little information on the Ozarks. The mysteries of the Ozarks are part of their charm. There are folk tales of ghosts, monsters, and strange creatures in the region that date back hundreds of years. Unlike the well-known Arkansas Wildman of the 19th century and the Boggy Creek and White River monsters of the 20th. The Ozarks, also known as the Ozark Mountains, Ozark Highlands, or Ozark Plateau, which I've never heard. I've heard it referred to as the Ozark Mountains, but I just thought that was the mountains, not the actual area, is a physiographic region in the U.S. consisting of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and the extreme southeastern corner of Kansas. The Ozarks cover a significant portion of northern Arkansas and most of the southern half of Missouri, extending from Interstate 40 in central Arkansas to Interstate 70 in central Missouri. Yeah, like everybody I knew went down to Missouri, but it does extend quite further down than quite a lot further down than that. There are 2 mountain ranges in the Ozarks: the Boston Mountains of Arkansas and the St. Francois Mountains of Missouri. Buffalo Lookout, the highest point in the Ozarks, is located in the Boston Mountains. Geographically, the area is a broad dome with the exposed core in the ancient St. Francois Mountains. The Ozarks cover nearly 47,000 square miles, making it the most extensive highland region between the Appalachians and Rockies. Together with the Ouachita, I'm going to go with the Ouachita Mountains, the area is known as the U.S. Interior Highlands. The Salem Plateau, named after Salem, Missouri, makes up the largest geographic area of the Ozarks. The second largest is the Springfield Plateau, named after Springfield, Missouri, nicknamed the Queen City of the Ozarks. Did not know that. I've been to Springfield multiple times. On the northern Ozark border are the cities of St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri. Significant Ozark cities in Arkansas include Fayetteville, Bentonville, Springdale, Eureka Springs, and Fort Smith. Branson, just north of Arkansas, Missouri border, is a tourist destination and popularizer of Ozark culture. If you've never been to Branson, Missouri, I can't say you are or aren't missing a lot, depending on what you enjoy in your life, but there is Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri, which is a large part of my childhood. And there, Fire in the Hole, I think, was the name of the roller coaster that was in there. It was like a little storytelling roller coaster that was underground. But there's a myth, a rumor, that someone once lost their head while standing up on it as there was a drop-off you went into. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never looked it up, but it's a good story, and it scares the hell out of you as a child. And you don't stand up on Fire in the Hole. All right, so yeah, Silver Dollar City. Woo! Possible explanations of the Howler. Some attribute the sightings to the presence of an escaped big cat in the mountains, but others say something more is behind them. Eyewitnesses have come forward claiming to have seen a mysterious cat-like monster in the Ozarks, a creature unlike anything they have ever seen before. Skeptics claim that it's an eastern cougar, a black bear, or some kind of wolf or feral hound. The problem is that wildlife officials maintain there is not a breeding population of cougars left in Arkansas. They do concede that it is possible there might be individual big cats living in the mountains, pointing out they likely were once held as pets, but escaped or were turned loose by their owners. Other creatures similar to the Howler have appeared in Native American legends for centuries. One bone-chilling example is the Missouri Monster, which shared many characteristics with the Ozark Howler, including the large size, black fur, and unsettling howl. I mean, is the howl of the elk alone. I can't imagine what this thing sounds like. Is it a Cooshahi? Cooshahi. I had to look it up how to. It looks like Q scythe. C-U with a tilde, S-I with a tilde, T-H. Cooshahi. Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and English settlers homesteaded the Ozarks Plateau in the mid to late 1800s, and they brought with them their ancestral stories and mythologies. One such story was of the Cooshahi, a mythical, and if I might be completely butchering this might be completely wrong how I'm saying this, but I watched a YouTube channel with someone that sounded like they were Scottish, Irish, or Welsh, and that was how they pronounced it. One such story was of the Cooshahi, a mythological hound that is feared as a harbinger of death. The settlers believed the hound would come to bear away the soul of a person to the afterlife, similar to the Grim Reaper. The hounds of death went by other names such as Bean City, Cooshahi, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Welsh one. C-W-N-A-N-N-W-N. Okay, either way. According to Scottish folklore, the Cooshahi is said to be the size of a young bull with the appearance of a wolf. Its fur is shaggy and usually cited as being dark green, though sometimes white. Its tail is described as being long and either coiled up or plaited, braided. Its paws are described as being the width of a man's hand. The Cooshihe is thought to make its home in the clefts or rocks in the highlands and also to roam the moors and highlands. According to the legend, the creature was capable of hunting silently, but would occasionally let out 3 terrifying bays, and only 3, that could be heard for miles by those listening for it, even far out at sea. Even far out at sea. Those who hear the baying of the Cooshihe must reach safety by the 3rd bark or be overcome with terror to the point of death. Well, that just sounds terrifying. Deathly terrifying. It was also said the bane was a warning to lock up nursing women, lest the beast abduct them and take them to a fairy mound to supply milk for the children of the Fae. Faes, the fairy people, the Fae, yeah. In Wales, they were associated with migrating geese, supposedly because their honking in the night is reminiscent of barking dogs. Hunting grounds are said to include the mountain of Cadair Idris, where it is believed the howling of these huge dogs foretold death to anyone who heard them. According to Welsh folklore, their growling is loudest when they are at a distance, and as they draw nearer, it grows softer and softer and softer. This coming in generally seen as a death portent. Some people see a connection between the mythologies that came here with the settlers and the ancient stories of the Native Americans who inhabited the region. Natives told stories of saber-toothed tigers that used to roam the land, though they have been gone for thousands of years. Combining the stories of the tigers and the settlers' tales of otherworldly creatures that scream and carry off the souls of the dead may have resulted in the Ozark Howler. Recognized cryptozoologists like Chad Arment and Lauren Coleman claim that the howler is not real. They went so far as to prove that a sighting that happened in 1998 and sparked renewed interest was, after all, a hoax. Where isn't the Ozark Howler showing up in pop culture? Let's be honest here. Like I said, never heard of it before, but it is on actually a couple of these shows I haven't heard of before either, but they are on major networks and can be viewed by many people. The Ozark Howler story may be an old legend, but its impact on the Ozarks and popular cultures endures. In fact, you can spot references to this cryptid in books, movies, TV shows, songs, and even games. One of the most well-known depictions of the Howler occurred on Animal Planet's show Lost Tapes, which featured reenactments of alleged run-ins with the beast. The Howler's brush with the limelight didn't stop there, as it also made an appearance on an episode of Expedition X on Discovery Channel. The episode Ozark Howler, Devil Cat's Revenge, has the team heading to Arkansas to check out reports of the creature. They interviewed locals who claimed to have seen the howler and ventured into the forest at night, armed with thermal cameras and other gear. Although they did not come face to face with the Ozark Howler, their excursion produced some intriguing footage that left viewers questioning if the creature really exists. The sci-fi show Haunted Highway focused on the Ozark Howler in July of 2012. Investigating the location of the Newton County sightings, program investigators took thermal images of an animal they thought might be a howler and also made plaster casts of paw prints found where an animal had taken meat the show producers had left out hoping to attract the howler. The thermal imagery turned out to be of a raccoon or possum, but a wildlife biologist consulted by the show intriguingly identified the paw prints as possibly being from a puma or cougar. They were too big to have been left by bobcats, which are well-known residents of the mountains. Unsurprisingly, even local businesses are getting in on the legend, using it to attract tourists and customers with Ozark Howler-themed merchandise. So I go back home here in hopefully within a month. Gonna take a week off from work, and I might have to take a trip down, check out See if I can find some old Ozark Howler themed merchandise. Because we know if there is one thing I love, it's magnets. And I want an Ozark Howler magnet now. So yeah. That is the breakdown of the Ozark Howler. It seems like it could be real. So the thing that makes it unique, I would say, that makes it possibly a real cryptid, or even just maybe an undiscovered creature, was that the wildlife officials maintain that there is not a breeding population of cougars left in Arkansas. They do concede that it is possible there might be individual big cats living in the mountains, pointing out they were likely once held as pets but escaped or were turned loose by their owners. That statement kind of makes me lean more towards the fact that it could be something that either A, we haven't discovered, B, it could just be an old pet or escaped pet that they had. But you know me, I like the unexplained. I don't know. I guess I haven't really given a lot of thought on it. There's enough sightings that it makes me feel like it could be. It's definitely something. Like I said, we saw that some of the cams that were set up were actually just cougars. But yeah. Cougar, black bear, wolf, feral hound, Ozark Howler. Who knows? I don't know. I am going to actually watch the episodes. I did not watch the episodes of these. I know at least one or two of them I can find streaming for free. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have you heard the Ozark Howler before? Are you from the Ozarks? Do you have personal encounters with the Ozark Howler? I would love to hear all about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how I've described it. Is there something that's missing? Is there more I need to know? But yeah, that wraps up the Ozark Howler. So I guess that just leaves us with me giving a shout out to myself and asking you to check out the socials, which you can find at linktr.ee/DOTU podcast. That is linktree/DOTU podcast. Everything's on there. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere I can be found within that link. Please check out the socials, like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. That's what's going to help the podcast the most, is to grow, is sharing of the podcast and sharing with friends, sharing with family. We've all got that one cousin that's into the same stuff we are. We're like, yeah. The rest of the family's like, I don't know. But you got that one cousin that's like, you better believe it, brother. So yeah, share it with them. And I guess this can wrap it up by me just saying, as always, keep an eye to the sky. And if you find yourself in the Ozarks and hear a very deep and guttural, most unearthly scream, it's time to start running. See you next time.